I don't know if you've seen it, people, but there is this awesome show on Animal Planet that I am addicted to called Whale Wars. It is on every Friday night, 8 p.m. Central, or you can DVR it. I DVR it and watch it every Saturday morning or Sunday or whatever. It's really, really good. It is really a war of whales, a war between this ship called the Sea Shepherd and these Japanese whalers who are whaling. The Sea Shepherd is trying to stop the whalers from whaling. It chronicles their mission every single week. Joining us on the phone right now is the captain of the Sea Shepherd, Paul Watson. Paul, welcome on to the Michael Coolidge Show.
Oh, thank you, Michael.
Now, we still have a couple of episodes coming up, and I'm excited to see what exactly happens. But before we get into the show, tell us a little bit about yourself. You aren't just this captain of this Sea Shepherd right now. You are the founder of this entire, in many ways, anti-whaling movement, aren't you?
Well, it goes a long ways back. When I was 18, I was the youngest founding member of Greenpeace, and we got Greenpeace involved with whaling in 1974. And I left Greenpeace in 77 to set up the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society because I really didn't like protesting. I thought it was very submissive. It's sort of like, please, please, please don't kill the whales. So we set up Sea Shepherd to intervene against illegal whaling activities and illegal fishing activities. And so we're really an anti-poaching organization.
So the Sea Shepherd is not necessarily an arm or anything of Greenpeace. But is there a positive relationship between Greenpeace and Sea Shepherd, or what?
Well, I wish there was, but they don't like us.
Why not?
All of the original founding members of Greenpeace were forced out of the organization. It got taken over by their fundraisers, their bureaucrats. It's typical.
Yeah.
But we'd like to work with them, but they just made it very clear that they don't approve of what we do, so that's fine.
Well, that happens a lot in these political type of groups. Groups have the same views in the beginning, and then they don't necessarily agree with the methods. You guys, I mean, I'm sorry, whether you agree or disagree with what the Sea Shepherd does, you have to respect their courage and their guts. These guys aren't just going off the coast of San Francisco and then going back after they're done and going to a restaurant. They go down to Antarctica for months to find these Japanese whaling ships, and they basically just annoy the heck out of them to stop them from whaling as long as possible. And let's talk about some of the things we've seen on the show and the methods. You basically describe what your goal is when you see a Japanese fishing boat down there in the Antarctic area, or a harpoon boat or whatever.
Our objective really is to sink the Japanese whaling fleet economically. In other words, to cost them their profits. And we've done that for the last 4 years. We've negated their profits and cut their quotas in half. What we do is we find them, we chase them, we harass them, we obstruct them. We do everything we can, but we have to be very cautious. I mean, they're trying to kill us, and they're very violent. And if they do, then their government, Japan, will justify and defend their actions. We have to do what we do with making sure we don't injure any of them. And so it's quite the challenge. So we have to come up with ways of disrupting them. So where they throw bolts and nuts and shoot at us and hit us with acoustical weapons, we retaliate with butter bombs, rotten butter bombs, which just stink up their decks and just block their loading operations.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I've watched the back and forth between the crew, and I respect that you're not trying to physically injure the crew members or the boats themselves or whatever. Your mission is to save the whales. But you could see how they would consider what you do a little violent, right? I mean, you're the prop fouling thing. These guys could be stuck in the Antarctic for weeks on end or whatever. And, some of the other things that you guys do, they are probably just like you guys don't know, they have the fear of the unknown. Like, what are these guys going to do? Are they going to shoot something at the boat? I mean, they aren't shooting weapons or rubber bullets or anything at you guys. I mean, aren't you on the same level a little bit or no?
No. Last year I got shot, actually. They were shooting bullets. In the first year of Whale Wars, it shows that.
Really?
Yeah, the bullet was stopped by my bulletproof vest, actually. But we were shot. And they're trying to kill us. There's no doubt about it. We have to make sure we don't injure them. I mean, they're hitting us with these acoustical weapons, aiming them at our helicopter, which is extremely irresponsible. It could bring a helicopter down. And, some of our crew are getting hurt, but not too badly, but there is a potential there. So I have to be very careful to make sure that I can pull back when I feel that it's getting too dangerous for either side. But they have no such hesitation. But what they're doing is highly illegal. They're targeting endangered whales, especially fin whales, in an established international whale sanctuary in violation of a global moratorium on whaling. They're in contempt of the Australian Federal Court for killing whales in the Australian Antarctic Territory. They're in violation of the Antarctic Treaty for operating a commercial operation in that treaty zone and for refueling their ships in that treaty zone. So there's no difference between these Japanese whalers and elephant poachers in East Africa, except the elephant poachers are black and poor. That's the only difference.
Yeah, I'm slowly leaning more towards I'm against this whaling thing because I got to tell you, I'm an animal lover. My wife's an animal lover, but I was never necessarily a big fan of Greenpeace or some of the things I saw with the anti-whaling. But the more I learn about it, I said, wait a second, if these guys keep doing what they're doing, the Japanese, there aren't going to be any of these endangered species whales down there. But let me play devil's advocate. What's the difference between a sea bass or tuna or other types of commercial fishing that goes on? Or the guys on Deadliest Catch who are catching crabs? Do you have a major problem with that, or is it just the whales that you think is immoral to catch?
I have a major problem when it's illegal. We're actually preparing a campaign to oppose bluefin tuna fishing operations in the Mediterranean. There's 600 poachers operating there, and we've had ongoing campaigns against the shark finners for years. I have a full-time operation in the Galapagos, and last year we seized 100,000 shark fins that were taken by poachers. We even are protecting sea cucumbers, which are being poached in the Galapagos. So our organization opposes illegal fisheries. And so that's what we concentrate on. But whether it be fish, whether it be whales, whether it be seals, if it's illegal, we oppose it and we intervene.
And who do you unlike a lot of these fishing ships that get the revenue from, I guess, the sale of those fish, you guys aren't really selling anything. You are a group out there physically trying to do things, but that must cost a lot of money. Where do you guys get your revenue from? Who funds the Sea Shepherd?
Well, there's a lot of money to be made from exploiting the ocean, and it's more difficult to raise funds to protect it. But it's just individual people who support us, and our organization has grown by word of mouth over the years. We don't invest money in you don't get direct mail or junk mail from us. We don't do advertising. It's just really word of mouth. And over the years, we've gotten a pretty good foundation of support, and that's what keeps us running. And it's expensive, of course, because these ships are ridiculously expensive.
Right, and the crew and everything on there, they have to be fed, they have to be housed. I mean, yeah, it seems like it must cost a lot of money to run this operation.
Well, the crew are volunteers, and actually the food part of it in Australia have been extremely supportive while we've been operating out of Australia. So we get more food donated than we know what to do with, so that's not a problem. Our big expenses, of course, are fuel, maintenance, repairs, and upkeep of the ships.
Paul Watson is the captain of the Sea Shepherd, of course, which is highlighted on the show Whale Wars on Animal Planet every single Friday night, 8 p.m. Our listeners can go to Coolidge.com, click on Paul Watson, to bring you right to more info about it. Paul, and listeners, I'll say, whether you agree or disagree with what they do or even with their politics or what they believe, you've got to respect the heck out of Paul Watson and what he does physically, putting his money where his mouth is and trying to stop something he believes is wrong. Anything else you want to add, Paul Watson, before we say goodbye?
No, I think that covers it. I mean, we'll be returning again this year, but actually we'll be going back with 3 ships, so we'll be much more effective in this third season.
Oh, so there's definitely a third season of Whale Wars. There you go, people. Paul Watson, it was a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for coming on to the Michael Coolidge Show.
Thank you.
After this, General Richard B. Myers, 4-star general, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, highest ranking member of the military ever to appear on this show. And he's also a customer at Heddon's Fine Meats and Caterings in Creston. That's right. After this on the Michael Coolidge Show. Don't go anywhere.